What is going on, family? How is everybody doing? Listen, I hope you all are having a wonderful, 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 wonderful day, wonderful week. I apologize, with me. There's always something technical going on. So I had to move from one thing to another. Had to go from, I know I had the other stream set up, had to go set this one up real quick. Listen, we're going to have a little conversation. Like I said on Patreon last night, I said this every time I decide I'm going to go away for a week or so, everything seems to fall apart. It just becomes somewhat of a problem. So I see Slug is already in here with a name like Slug. He's slugging. I don't care about her Lynch. I don't either. I care mostly about her policies. Where's her political agenda at? If y'all want to fight, we can fight tonight. Like, if you want to say, well, I don't care about nothing about that, then what you do care about? Do you care about her? If you don't care about her Lynch, which we're making a distinction about why she can't run on that. Like, that's just a distinction that she shouldn't be able to just have freedom and all that stuff and run on. I don't care about that either. I'm talking about in terms of what I care about most. Like, you could be an ADOS person and run for office and still be horrible. So, hey, I want you, Slug, to go over to KamalaHarris.com, and I want you to tell me, since you don't care about her lineage, tell me what part of her platform that you care about. And I was over there early today, and I did not find no platform. So tell me what you do care about, Slug. If you don't care about, tell me what you care about, because we don't have no agenda. We don't have no black agenda. We don't have no regular agenda. We don't have no agenda. We have her husband talking behind closed doors to certain communities, but not us. So if you don't care about Lynch, I understand that, because policy should be at the forefront of everything. Tell me what you do care about. Tell me what parts of her agenda, it can't just be she's not Trump. What parts of her agenda are best for you? I want you to call in. I want you to let's be about that action tonight. Okay? Like, we can do that. We can do it. If you're feeling froggy, you ain't got to do nothing but jump. Now, I'm just going to go through. I want to revisit something from yesterday, because we're going to get into this. Let me tell you what I've realized. The biracials and the light skins of the world. I consider myself to be one of the light skins of the world. We are struggling. Let me just tell you. Listen, everybody, the biracials and the light skins are having a hard time really understanding lineage. So as one light, bright, red bone, yellow bone, I got to talk about y'all, because y'all have been destroying these conversations. Y'all have been the weakest links I've seen coming up. Why too? I'm light skinned, and because of slavery. Yes, because of slavery. But that didn't have nothing to do. With Kamala Harris being Indian and Jamaican. We're talking about American chattel slavery. Slavery was different everywhere. Well, don't you know slavery happened in Jamaica too? Yes, but it was different everywhere. We built something different. Our oppression was different. Think about the fact that we live in a country that's still majority white. That's not how they live there. Slavery is always different. That's why everybody has a different justice claim. So don't come tell me, I bet you didn't know about Jamaican slavery. I bet you a dodo bird. So let's go to the first dodo bird in the biracial light-skinned list. Your girl, Nicole Hannah-Jones, started talking. Now, I want to remind everybody that, when was it? In March 2024 of this year, Nicole Hannah-Jones took all of ADOS's talking points and said, this is not about blackness. This is about harm. We are a harmed group. And she said, what I have been saying and what Antonio have been saying, what ADOS have been saying for a very long time, this is about harm. She took all of our talking points and this is about harm. This is not about race. Then she backtracked so that she could carry Kamala Harris's water. She said, when I was a child, this is Nicole Hannah-Jones, the willful amnesia behind Trump's attacks on Harris's identity. When I was a child, a mere wee child, give us freedom. No. But this is Nicole Hannah-Jones. When I was a child, my dad sat my older sister and me down in our living room and explained to us the rules of race in America. A black man born in Mississippi, where black boys could be lynched for merely standing too close to a white woman. He met my white mom in 1972. That was just a few years after the Supreme Court Loving versus Virginia was finally struck down. Now, I want to tell you, she goes on to say, Dad had no illusions about how race worked in our society and felt it was his duty as a parent to prepare us. Now, I want to show you how Nicole Hannah-Jones has already failed. I want to show you how she already failed. Listen, you are talking about your father in Adolph, Mississippi, coming out of slavery, Jim Crow, all that stuff. If that is your father's life, then he has led an Adolph's life. Nicole Hannah-Jones, you said in 2024 in your colorblind article that it's about harm. Your father had a specific harm. That is not the same harm as a man coming out of Jamaica who had enough affluence to be able to travel to Stanford and attend Stanford while we were going through the civil rights movement. We are not the same people. You said that, and now you came back and say, because you all are mixed, you are the same. Just because you have two different quote unquote races does not mean you have the same experience. And that is what lineage is. To those of you all who are misunderstanding the conversation, this is the conversation. What we are saying is that, listen, there's that American blackness, and that's why we prefer ADOS, because it takes it out of that. But if you're talking about the way American blackness is understood, there are people, Africans and other people, say, I never knew I was black till I got here because there are no white people where I'm from. I never understood this because there are no white people. I never lived through this. No white cop put me. I never lived through none of this. Y'all have been telling me, black immigrants and their progeny, you all have been telling me that, listen, I go through some of the same things as you all. That's a lived experience, and I respect it. But when you tell me that, you're telling me that something about America is different. Something about the lived experience here is different. Now, you don't have the inherited experience, but the idea of American blackness, what it means to be here, is different. That is not the same, Nicole Hannah-Jones. You are a remedial student. That is not the same as being the progeny of two affluent immigrants. That is what we're saying. We're saying that she cannot rest on that and just flatten herself to blackness. In March 2024 article, Nicole Hannah-Jones said, I don't believe in flat blackness. She just adopted our language and put it in New York Times. In this article, she comes back out and said, Kamala Harris is like me because blackness is transcendent. I can't, listen. I couldn't make this stuff up if I tried. Now let me go to the next. I don't want to spend too much time on quotes, but I have to use them to make the case. This is still Nicole Hannah-Jones style. Child, messing arguments up one at a time. By suggesting that there was something nefarious or politically contrived about a mixed race person claiming blackness. Now hold on a second. That's not what was claimed though. See, this is where we start lying. By suggesting that there is something nefarious or politically contrived about a mixed race person claiming blackness. That's not, we're going back to Trump. Trump didn't say that. I'm not a Trump supporter. Trump zeroed out budgets for our community. You don't have to be a Trump supporter to understand what is true and what is false. Trump said she just goes back and forth. I don't know what she is. She used to claim Indian, now she claims something else. So you just can't say that she was an AKA vet. She gotta be one of us. So you're saying that the college experience is what defines you, not your history, not your parents, not your wealthlessness, not your grandparents, not your great-grandparents. You're saying what defines you is a college experience when most ADOS don't even go to college. What are y'all talking about? See, I don't know what she's talking about. That's not even what Trump said. What Trump did was eavesdrop our conversation because Trump knows he don't need to win the black vote. He just needs to get a little bit of it. And he just needs a few people to say, maybe she ain't like us. Because a lot of people will vote based on race, quote unquote race. She's black. Yeah, she's black. I got to vote for the black woman. He knows I'm going to show you or use the ADOS argument and show you that she's not what you think she is. And I don't need 90+% of the Democrats. I need 10 to 15, if that. And if I have high voter turnout, I don't need that. So he don't need that. He's not saying that. He's saying the same thing that we tried to have, the conversation that we tried to have in 2019, and you called us bots, and you said that we were MAGA, and you said all this stuff. We were trying to have this conversation to say Kamala has to run, or Obama should have run, on an agenda and not just I'm black and stand on a Selma bridge. You don't get to stand on that bridge. That's not your bridge. You come from two affluent immigrants. The immigration story is your life story, not this story. You can't own this story. The same way we should have got when Obama said Kenyan, the Kenyan white story is not our story. You see, when these people, you know how you know, and I said this last night, y'all know who on the Patreon. You know how I know they not ADOS? If you can go in one generation from being here to vice president or president, you ain't us. Because we've been here 400 years and we ain't never got there. If you can get there that fast, you ain't us. So let me get on to what else Nikole Hannah-Jones had to say. We saw this same orchestrated amnesia when Barack Obama set out to become the first black president. It seems that when a mixed race black American appears to be ascending to the pinnacles of power, some white Americans suddenly forget the race rules that white society created. I'm sorry to be repetitive for the people who were here last night, but let me just say it because I have to provide this foundation. The white society created rules for us. Let me remind everybody that black immigrants didn't get here until after 1965, after the Immigration Act of 1965. All of those rules were created for us. We have studies now that show the outcomes are different for black immigrants and their progeny than from native black Americans, which are ADOS. We have the data to show that now. That's who the rules were created for. It was not created for an affluent, the daughter of an affluent Indian and an affluent Jamaican. The rules were not created for them. That's not how this thing goes. And I can't even tell you, I don't know how white America reacts to a mixed race person of ADOS lineage who is ascending very high because I ain't never seen them. I haven't seen a ADOS person who is, except for like, you got to go all, I'm talking about they talking about a mixed race person, Now see how she's flattened it to we all just mixed the same. She just flattened blackness after going in March and saying we can't have no flat blackness. You don't know what you coming and going because none of these ideas are yours. Nikole, let this go. Go find something else to write about. This is stupid. You can't do this by saying we're not the same and then come back and then say we the same because we all mixed and you ain't, and your daddy come from Mississippi and her daddy goes to Stanford. Kamala Harris's daddy was at Stanford when MLK was getting bit by dogs. What are you talking about during the civil rights movement? What are we talking about? He could come here and travel during the time where most people, him and her mama, when a time when most people wasn't even on planes. When's the first time you was on a plane? When's the first time your mama was on a plane? Kamala's what, 59, 60? How old is she? Her mama was on a plane she grew up in Westmount, a wealthy Canadian. I'm talking about her high school years, Westmount, wealthy Canadian neighborhood. What are we talking about? How do you liken that life to this life because y'all both mixed and your daddy come from Mississippi? What are you talking about? Trump's questioning of Harris's black bona fides was swiftly denounced because Harris has long identified as black. I don't care how she identifies. Like, this is why, see, we're talking about American blackness, which is ADOS, American descendants of slavery. I don't care how she identifies. It's not her choice. We should have been said, listen, we're ADOS. You can claim this is a American blackness, right? You can claim that, but you can't claim this because you cannot own our history. You cannot just put our legacy and the context of our life and these 400 years of struggle. You cannot just put that backpack on and say it's mine too. No. That's an inherited experience, and you don't have that inheritance. Yes, we inherited poverty, and yes, we inherited wealthlessness, but you cannot use it to run for office. Hey, Kamala, we need that black agenda up on your website. I don't need you just run around talking about who you chose. I don't know what you're running on. I couldn't tell you what you're running on. I know when Bill Clinton ran, it was the economy stupid. I know a lot of people. I don't know what you run. I don't know who you are. I don't know. Harris wrote, my mother understood very well that she was raising two black daughters. She knew that her adopted homeland would see Maya and me as black girls, and she was determined to make sure we would grow into confident, proud black women. And Nikole Hannah-Jones said, that's just like the conversation my daddy had with me. It's not. Your daddy's Mississippi, honey. You just trying to stay relevant, trying to write something that people gonna read. Don't nobody care no more. But that is almost beside the point. The reality is the belief that blackness is immutable, genetic, racial category that transcends all other identities. See, Nikole Hannah-Jones is now saying that blackness is something that transcends all other identities. So she's saying now that it transcends lineage, right? It transcends lineage. It transcends everything. It's immutable. But what we know in this country is that it's mutable. That's why other people come here. The Irish kind of, you might be, they used to compare the Irish, say bad things, and they became white. They used to, other groups come here and they do better than us. Indian Americans come here and they own tech, and they're the CEOs of tech companies. When you look at the outcomes, there are different outcomes for us than other populations. So blackness is not immutable. We know that. There are studies that show that the perceptions and outcomes for ADOS and other black immigrants and their progeny is different because there are different perceptions, there are different stereotypes. So it's not one immutable thing. This is a sloppy article which contradicts her 2024 article. But I don't want to stay too long on this because I don't want to seem like, oh, you just going in on her again, child. No, she just need to stop writing. If she would stop writing, I wouldn't. They talk about the one drop rule, which always been that way here. They're not from here. Where Kamala's mother's from, there's a racialized caste. It's a different caste. It's a vicious caste. You can't use that to say we're all the same. You can't use the one drop rule to say we all the same. Because, and you're using the context that racists use to say we're all the same. I think that makes it even worse. You're using the racist context that said that any kind of African blood is a contagion. You're using that context as a definition instead of having agency and say, listen, we get to be what everybody else gets to be. This person gets to be Ghanaian American. She gets to be Jamaican American. On Caribbean Heritage Day, we understand that that's what they are. At the Olympics, we just understood that the St. Lucia girl wasn't us and she outran chicanery and all. We understood all that, except when it comes time to support your favorite candidate. All of a sudden, that's the true amnesia. All of a sudden, you forget about what you wrote in March and you just want to go do something else. Listen, y'all, this is stupid. Kamala should have to run on a record. See how she puts these people together? She should have to, when Obama, this is Nicole Hannah-Jones again. Y'all got to watch who y'all read. They don't be knowing stuff. Like when Obama insisted he was biracial black man. This has been the coming together of the biracials. I don't know what y'all doing. When Harris insists she is a biracial black woman, when I do the same, you are not the same. Kenyan white, that's Obama. Harris, Indian Jamaican. You Mississippi and Czechoslovakia, whatever your mom is, whatever she came from, these are not the same. You have to understand those differences. And if you do not understand race and lineage, you should not be speaking or writing on it in front of or for the New York Times. You should. Somebody said, ain't no diaspora. Amen. Amen. God bless you, ain't Gesundheit, child, because ain't nothing. Whether or not Harris accepted her black identity, she lives in a country where 4 centuries of race law predetermined how the nation would see and treat her. No, she hasn't. Do you think Kamala's been treated like you? Listen, you notice she hasn't been treated like you because she was able. Do you think Kamala Harris is the first? Do you know how many ADOS women in this country? Let me stop that. Do you know how many ADOS women in this country have been involved in politics and would like to have been able to be vice president, would like to have been able to run for president? Why do you think Kamala Harris is our first quote unquote black president, vice president, and running for president? The second one, why do you think that is? Her ascendance, Barack Obama's ascendance shows you that they're not like us and it is mutable. It shows you that this woman should run as a white woman. That's how she should run. You are not us. You are not us. You have to run on your agenda. Don't come here talking about freedom. Don't come here talking about no civil rights and all that. Like, no, you went to high school in Westmount. Howard University was 4 years of your life. That does not allow you to put on generations of slavery and accrued disadvantage in America. So you have to run just based on what you're going to do for us because voting is an exchange and not a gift. Black Americans did not have a say in the system of racial classification. No, we didn't, but now we do. And we should have. And this, when we didn't have a say in it too, because it was only slaves and their descendants and white folk until 1965. It wasn't necessary to have a classification, you dodo bird, until 1965. Because that's when everybody really started coming. That's when we saw large numbers of people. The Civil Rights Movement and then the Immigration Act of 1965 is when we started to see it, the floodgates open up. We didn't need any of that. We didn't need a different racial classification. It's just slaves and their descendants. We call them black, and it's white folk. Now we need something different because we got Kamala and everybody from around the globe. We didn't. What are you talking about? See, what Nicole Hannah-Jones is telling us is that we are nothing. Because if Kamala Harris can come into this country and just be mixed and be mixed in the same way Nicole Hannah-Jones is, and then be quote unquote black in the same way we are, then we are nothing. That means that we are just this kind of amorphous group that just has to blend into everything and accept everybody. And we're not doing that. Nobody else does that. Everybody in the world has distinctions based on tribe, based on country, based on nationality, and we have the same. Kamala is not us and we are not her. That means that you have to come with us with an agenda. That doesn't mean that we'll never vote for you or that we have some kind of xenophobic hatred toward. No, it means that you have to come to us with an agenda. I don't want to hear anything about where you're from. I don't want to hear anything about what you did. I've seen your pictures at Westmount. People want to show all the pictures at Howard and not or the HBCU and none of the pictures at the white high school, that white wealthy high school. Child. Let me get through this though, because, and I brought this up yesterday too, because it just, when Nicole Hannah-Jones says race is immutable. You know, I brought this up yesterday. The Nigerian drummer who set the beat for the U.S. civil rights. On one occasion, he and a group of students boarded a racially segregated bus in Atlanta wearing traditional African clothes and were allowed to sit anywhere they wanted because they were not identified as African Americans who had to sit on the back. But y'all want to tell me that race, Nicole Hannah-Jones want to tell you race is just set in stone and it's never moved and it's never been immutable. It's always just been about African ancestry. Well, why does man have to sit on the back then? Why were Africans? You see that clip I put on my Instagram from Malcolm X? He said the same thing. People are treated differently. It's only us, those that come from slavery, that are treated this bad. He said that. Stop lying. I'm tired of these people. Stop lying and tell the truth and shame the devil. If you know what the truth is, you got to tell it. And everybody should be just saying, hey, Kamala, give us an agenda. Just give us an agenda. Put it up. Let us piece through it. You got policy writers who are willing to write this. Yo, do it. What we waiting on? And it's just, see, look at this. Household income, there are differences. Household income for black immigrants are lower than Americans overall, but higher than U.S.-born blacks because we are the group. We are the bottom, not blacks. The bottom is ADOS. That's us. It's not just a black bottom. If it was just a black bottom, then Kamala and Barack would have been tied right down there with us. But ain't it something that they were able to ascend that quickly? Isn't that something? So that these things let you know. And you can't tell me, you're telling me I'm the same as like Africans who just got here. So we are the same. African-born immigrants stand out for the recentness of their arrival. In the U.S., 3/4 arrived in the country after 2000. I'm just bringing this up not specifically about Kamala's father. This is apply more to Obama's father. But what I'm saying is that like these people, a lot of people are new here. You are Nicole Hannah-Jones and obtuse writers like her and thinkers are allowing these people to just strap it on their back and say, I'm just like you. And so I get the fruits of your labor. Yeah, you suffered for a long time, but I'm going to say I'm you and I'm just going to go and get what I get because I get to do that. No, you cannot have an easy walk to the White House. We let Obama talk his stuff and sound like a preacher and get out there and yeah. Y'all know what I'm talking about, right? Obama ain't talked like that since. I bet you don't talk like that at Martha's Vineyard. Where he live at now, he got the heck out of Dodge. Right? Then listen, we had another one. Listen, light skins and biracials were having some struggles. Your light-skinned sister gonna come to you and tell you that right now you're the weakest link. So when Kamala Harris's blackness, I see my own. Now, I like that we've all seen Nicole Hannah-Jones. I like to see who we working with. I'll bring it up in a second. We'll just go straight ahead. She says this: we seem to be beginning another season of perennially popular American spectacle. How much is that mulatto in the window? Ooh, she thinks she cute, girl. I frequently think that after 400 years, this show is about to go off the air. Jump the shark, as it were. But then it turns with ever more absurd plot lines. Yet even as a so-called mulatto myself, I can't stop watching. Well, that's interesting. Hold on, is this her? I want you to give us this is her. This is she called herself mulatto. I didn't call her that. Don't strike me, YouTube. I didn't call nobody a mulatto. That was in her article, YouTube. But this is her. I just want to give everybody a context. Who we talking about? She's talking, and I want to give you a context of her life in a minute. But let's let her keep talking. So hold on. Ooh, this ain't this something? Hold on. So that was her. So that's her. Let me see. Oh, hold on. What was I at? Okay. So she was talking. She's talking. It goes way back. This practice of poking and prodding mulattoes. Oh God, I don't even like saying that. I don't even like saying that. Poking and prodding, but I don't want to poke and prod you, child. In 1891, a Tennessee journalist named Will Allen Drumgoole set out to understand the mysterious nature of a group of mixed people calling themselves Melungians, I don't know, who lived in isolation in the nearby Appalachian Mountains. They had dusky skin and a swirl of Benetton features. Drumgoole ultimately declared them us, doubtful and mysterious and unclean. I have been accused. What is the accusation? Of racial chicanery more than once. There was the time I met with the woman to discuss renting a room in her house. She was white, older than me, and we sat chatting warmly in her living room. At some point, she said I had an interesting face. I don't ever want nobody to tell me I have an interesting face. We gonna fight. Look, we gonna fight. You say you have an interesting face. Oh, and asked what my background was. I told her that I was mixed. I'm surprised you didn't say I was mulatto. Half black and half white. Visibly flabbergasted, she rose and hauled a floor lamp over where I was sitting and shone it brightly on my face. I don't see it, she said, squinting down at my face. It can't be true. I don't see it at all. Though I am younger than Miss Harris by 6 years, in her blackness, I recognize my own. It is a blackness born not in slavery, but much later in a whole other context in the wake of the civil rights, black power movements, when there was no mixed race category. You were either black or white. To claim whiteness as a mixed child was to deny and hide blackness. Our families understood that the world we were growing up into would seek to denigrate this part of us, and we would need a community that was made up always and already all shades of blackness. The big secret I knew, and Miss Harris surely knows as well, is that our blackness was born not out of something lost, but something gained. Y'all are not the same. Like if you go, let me go show you. Because if you go, where is it? Hold on a second. Because if you go here, and this is what I'm talking about, you see, this is her father. He was an editor. Carl Center became soon to become the youngest editor at Beacon Press, and Finney Howe married a commitment that was heavily symbolic, and that Carl was from Southern poverty, was black and from Southern poverty. That's her father. So her father is black and from Southern poverty. These people keep likening themselves to Kamala, not understanding that in this case, their fathers come from an ADOS life that separates them from, forget. You have, this man is from a whole other country. Kamala's dad is from a whole other country. Now, I also want to know why we don't ever hear from the man who is Kamala's only attachment to quote unquote blackness. He ain't came out and said nothing except that he was embarrassed of her. That would never happen in another campaign. Wait a minute, your dad don't like you? Is that what we're hearing? Because he ain't said nothing. He ain't said nothing, and what he did say was damaging about how you was acting and being stereotypical. But you all, I mean, you would not see, I have never seen this even among Asian people who come out like you'll have like a Korean person come out and say that they're like a Japanese person. And it's just, I don't see this kind of thing. It's just weird for these people to have fathers who come out of Adolf's poverty, who come out of Adolf's life. That is, she said it didn't come out of slavery. Yes, it did. You can draw a straight line to what her father experienced in terms of Southern poverty, right? And what Nicole Hannah-Jones' father probably experienced. And say that there is no sameness to somebody, first of all, in a whole other country, with a whole other experience, with a whole other timeline. These things are not the same. Why do y'all it's just like all of a sudden we have biracials unite, and it's all around biracialness, not around the context of the ADOS person who was the parent. They had you are erasing that the context of that person's life. You all are erasing the context of your Adolf's father's life. That is not the context of Kamala Harris's father's life, which we don't even know. People just assume what he comes from. Like, we haven't done enough research into that, but the context of a Jamaican life, of the Jamaican who was able to come over here and go to Stanford, is likely different than the context of your Adolf's father's life. The country's different. Just first of all, before we even get to the context, why do you all keep seeing sameness where none exists? That's the question for these people. So let me just go back here and see. Oh, that's the first one we just read. This is just crazy to me. At the dinner party last summer, I sat next to a man. Oh, I don't want to read that. That's stupid. Y'all can go read it on your own, though. Declaring black people like Miss Harris not black, even debating the truth of mixed people's assertion. Nobody's talking about just mixed people. This is an immigrant story. It's not an ADOS story. They just keep getting lost in that. I think because they want so much to see themselves reflected in Kamala. Like, this is a moment in pride, and Obama's a moment in pride. We have all this mixed pride, but there's no, it's almost like that should replace ADOS Ascendance, even if it's not analogous to the life of the person who the ADOS person in your life. This doesn't make any sense. They don't understand, who are you ethnically, right? Declaring black people like Miss Harris not black, even debating the truth of mixed people's assertion that we are the ones who get to describe ourselves in all our complexity. No, you don't. Let me just take that off the table. No, you don't. You know, in other countries, if you are a member of a tribe, or if you are a member of a group, you have a certain ethnicity, that's who you are. You don't get to make up your life. You don't get to make up the history of your people. You don't. No, you don't get to just describe yourself. We've done that too much too. Let people just say, you can say you black. You can't say you're ADOS. You can't say you are what is American blackness, because blackness has a certain definition in this country that it doesn't have elsewhere. And the reason I want to come out of that and be ADOS is because people are doing that. They're trying to shoehorn their way into our experience through that term. That's why I have a problem with that term. But that kind of blackness, American blackness, has always meant something different. And you don't get to just kind of decide, well, that's what I'm going to be. No, there's a whole history attached to what it means to be ADOS. You can't just decide for yourself, well, the day I decide I'm going to be, and you put on. You can't just put on our life. That is a life of suffering and hardship. You don't just get to put it on because of melanin or whatever. There has to be an inherited experience. That's an inherited American experience that ties you to slavery. If you are not that, you are not ADOS, and you are not one of us. Now, you can be whatever you want to be outside of us, but you cannot just define yourself. This kind of self-description is a problem as well. It's to once again reduce race to something mathematically quantifiable, and to turn mixed race people into specimens who must be lectured by others on what we truly are. You need to be lectured because you don't know what you are. I don't want to lecture you on what you are, but it's obvious that you don't know who you are. You don't know what you are. You don't understand the value of lineage, so you have to be lectured to. Listen, biracials for the fails. Stop. They're not doing good. They're not doing good. Let me just come down. You see, this was what I just showed you about her father's people. No, you're not Nicole Hannah-Jones. You don't come from affluent immigrants. Your father came from poverty. I don't know what your mother came from. She was well-to-do, it seems, right? But your father came from poverty. You don't get to liken him to anybody. American poverty, right? That comes out of slavery. That comes out of the racialized caste in America. We're talking about Reconstruction in America. We're talking about sharecropping in America. We're talking about Jim Crow in America. You don't get to let anybody else have that. And I'm sorry that I have to teach you that, because you should have learned that a long time ago. Now we finna get now to the light skins. I'm not gonna stay here long, but I saw this one too. This was another one. It was another. This was another shocking addition. What Donald Trump doesn't understand about race. Now, this person here, you can go look it up. I forgot her name. She said everything and said nothing at the same time. What are you? He demands. She said, I want to give you all the context. There's an African driver in the car who asked the African driver, now I would have canceled my Uber and I would have cussed him out. He said, what are you? He said, and she said, I'm black. He said, I don't believe you. Now, family, the first problem that we run into is that you are reacting to an African man saying he doesn't understand who you are. He doesn't have the context to understand who you are. And he's probably trying to diminish you. Well, you can't be. I do not believe you. He said, looking at me incredulously and throwing out some other more unbelievable to him options. Latin, South Asian, Middle Eastern. Yes, because they don't understand what it means to be ADOS in America. They don't understand our history. So you are reacting to an African man who does not understand ADOS history. Yes, this is what's going to happen. I don't know why people act like that. Why are you acting like that? He says, you look like your mother is white and your father is black. See, this is the point. I would have cussed him out. I didn't ask you and what tribe you from. Like I didn't ask you to define me. You don't know the history. Slave and slave master. You don't know nothing about that. Right? So I didn't ask. So you are reacting. The beginning of this thing is stupid because he don't know. He's not American. She says he's African in the beginning of this. That's the beginning of the problem. You are defining yourself by somebody who does not understand America. And you are answering his question. I do not. I'm not answering no question for you. I'm going to answer one question if I'm in a good mood. After that, drive. But she goes on to make several mistakes too. So she says, now with my curly hair, honey brown skin, and bumpy nose, I've been mistaken for many things. Me too, but who cares? Why do people get fixed? See, this is light skins and biracial. You got a problem. Yeah, I do too. I get mistaken by stuff too, but who cares? Y'all get fixated on what people think about y'all. From Puerto Rican to Pakistani, from Brazilian, but I don't have y'all little curly hair, honey. Y'all be loving your little curly hair. To Bangladeshi, but being told I have a white appearance was the first. For my entire life, ever since I was second grader at Joseph Hill Academy in Staten Island. Child, we gotta go back to your elementary school. I've been fielding the what are you question. Me too. And what? Oh my God. That don't make it. See, with the light skins of the world got to break out of being special because people confused. I've been feeling the what are you question, but it's early, really, really early, and I'm not in the mood. You sound like you're in the mood. You talking to him. You sound like you in the mood to me. Then how do you account for your white appearance? Slavery, she said. And that finally ended the grilling. I'm not going to be grilled by no cab driver or no Uber driver or no Lyft driver. I've been thinking about the conversation a lot lately as the controversy over Kamala Harris' racial identity resurfaces once again. Is she black? Is she Indian? What is she really? This week, while speaking at a press conference at the National Association of Black Journalists in Chicago, former President Donald Trump threw a Molotov cocktail into the debate. We threw that, and Trump picked it up and threw it. But I don't know what you're talking about. If your appearance comes from slavery, why are you likening yourself to Kamala Harris? What is wrong with us? There's something wrong with us. It's got to be something that's diagnosable. We baby need some milk. For most of history, America decreed that here we go again with the one drop rule. Oh God. So people are not fully black. Let me see if I need to read some of this because she just goes off the she don't look like. I'm gonna show a picture of what I think is her. She don't look white. Like I don't know. You should have left that. I can see a little bit ambiguous the curly hair. I can see that. People see that in me or whatever. I don't care. But I'm just saying like he just didn't know what he was talking about. Like I feel like there's some insecurity here too. Like you don't even know that you're faced with somebody who doesn't understand America and how we became mixed. In the sense of like. in that sense, what are you even bragging about? Like, we all are mixed. I remember seeing something about the percentage of ADOS and how much European we have and whatever. And it varies, of course. But like, there's nearly no ADOS here without European. We're all to that extent. So what are you talking about? Like, how do you get to come and say, well, I'm mixed? Because you 50-50 as opposed to like my, what was it, 65-35, whatever. So you 50-50. So you get to really talk about it. Right, so you got one mom. We all got something. What are you talking about? I'm Black, and I have 2 Black identifying parents who also had 2 Black identifying parents. Yeah, me too. I wouldn't say identifying, no. I would say, whatever, child. You have to go back generations to find the white folks in our family tree, but their existence is there, evident in the texture of our hair, the hue of our skin. No. Yes, that stuff happens, but you can have somebody who doesn't have all that stuff, but has the lineage that goes back to slavery. That is it. We're too caught up in hair texture and all that stuff. Like, we're too caught up in that. No. The slant of our noses, honey. And in our 23andMe genetic testing, we are the result of centuries of miscegenation, generations of Black biracial people marrying other Black people, and the occasional Native American again and again, and descendants of both enslaved and the enslavers. Yes, I say it all the time. Born perhaps of love, but most certainly from rape in the United States, but so much in other. See, that's I don't think people understand. That's a specific history, though. That's a specific lineage. That is the context of a specific lineage that Kamala does not have. I don't understand. I just don't understand how that is. I think that's her. So I just don't understand how that is confusing, right? Like, I don't understand. I don't want to leave it because it might not be her. People, I pulled the wrong picture. Harris with her sleek blowout and cafe a latte or cafe a latte, whatever, skin will fit right in at our Jamaican family reunion. At our family reunion. I'm sorry, I read the other line. Child, how you gonna bring somebody who's not family to your family reunion and say they fit in? Yes, everybody can bring a friend to the family reunion, but how you gonna just say she looks like? Well, then that means everybody can be in your family reunion. That means everybody with brown skin. If you're looking at her skin, right? Well, you look at her skin. First of all, her hair is not whatever. But if you're looking at her skin and you're saying, like, and her blowout hair, I guess the afro she had in high school. If you're looking at that and saying that that is what defines you, then you're saying that nothing defines you, because those are just aesthetic features. That's not the history of a people. That's not the context of a community. So if somebody looks like you, you can bring in an Indian American who looks like you. You can bring in a Mexican who looks like you. They can be, it can be an Afro Mexican looks like you. You can bring in an Afro Brazilian that looks like you. Anybody's people that look like you all over the world. That is not the context for how we define our group. And everybody understands that. A Ghanaian understands that they're not Nigerian. An Igbo understands that they're not from Rwanda or part of the Hutu or whatever, the Tutsi. They all understand that they're not the same group. Why does our group struggle with that so bad? Why do we struggle so hard? After all, on her Jamaican side, she comes from a very similar genetic soup. Also, a product of the island's legacy of slavery. That's not our legacy of slavery, though. Context. To be Black in the Americas is to be racially, in the Americas, she says. Notice how she switches it up. It's to be racially mixed, dating back to the earliest colonial days when enslaved Africans lived with, worked with, rebelled with, and had babies with indentured Europeans and Native Americans. The longer you've been, that's still in the, child, the longer you've been in this country, matter your racial identity, the more likely you are to be mixed race. Oh, I'm struggling. I'm struggling to get through this, child. Woo! There are historically mixed race, let me get my energy up. Mixed race populations dotted throughout the U.S. from the French-speaking Louisiana Creole. Now you're coming back to America, and then they go again with the Milongos or whatever they are, Milungions. Somebody figure out how to pronounce that, of Appalachia, to the Wee sorts of Maryland, to the Punjab Mexicans of California, to the descendants of the Filipino sailors who settled in the 1760s, honey. Somebody, Jesus, take the wheel. Jesus, take the wheel. Jesus, take the wheel. But for most of American history, Mix just wasn't an option. Thanks to the one drop rule. One drop rule again. We love that one drop rule now, which says that our blood is a contagion that spoils white blood, but we love it now. Everybody who comes here is now a part of the one drop rule, even though they were not oppressed with that rule. That is not the context of their life. Now the one drop rule is everywhere. Even if you had blonde hair and blue eyes and white skin, that made you legally black in the America's racial caste system. Kamala Harris was not in America's racial caste system. Neither was her mama or daddy. And subject to the brutality of slavery and Jim Crow and the laws. And then they came here voluntarily. This is not us. We were brought here. Our people were brought here. And then mixed with whoever they mixed with, enslavers or whoever else. Like this is a unique amalgamation. That shouldn't be compared to anybody else. But hey. But whether Harris and Obama are being dragged for being too black or for not being black at all, the political point is the same, to discredit them. Casting aspersions on a political leader's racial identity is less than subtle way of to paint them as broadly inauthentic and therefore not to be trusted. But there's the thing, black in America is a very broad umbrella. It's not. Like, that's why we got to do ADOS, because the child, united with our myriad of iterations of skin color and hair texture and life experiences, we are powerful political force. Listen, I want to see all y'all at the ADOS summit, because we gotta fix this. I want to see y'all October 3rd through 5th. Let me see you. Because let me tell y'all something. Let me just interrupt this for a second. We got to do something about this now. We can talk. We can have all kinds of conversations, right? But this is a mess. I don't know how else to... Let me type this. Let me find something real quick. See if I can find something real, because this is a mess. You ever seen a mess like this? You ever seen a mess like this? We is everything and everybody and anybody can be everything to us. that's what else does it mean, fam? We is everybody and everything, and everybody is mixed, and we shouldn't say nobody is not us, because we is all the same. I don't know, fam. Y'all gotta tell me. We is all the same. Woo! Let me put this in the chat. Hold on a second. Boop. Pin that message right there. Boop. Okay. Now listen, fam. And I don't know what her mom doesn't even get to define her. That's fine if you tell your kids that, but the definition of what ADOS is and what it means to be us, and I said this last night, I don't trust nobody. I don't trust nobody tell me nothing. I don't trust nobody. Well, but that's what she told me, because Cumberland lied before about, he said, give us free. So I don't trust her. But listen, this is how she comes down. This is the end. I'm black and I'm proud of being black. She also said, this is Kamala, I think. That's her? I don't know. She said, I was born black, I will die black, and I'm not going to make excuses for anybody because they don't understand. We can and should take her word for it. Lineage is not something that we take somebody's word for. I want to make sure everybody understands that. You don't take anybody. That's why you have to have a specific definition. We used to not need a specific definition. There was a time when we didn't need a specific definition for lineage, because it was all the slaves and then the slaves' descendants, right? Until 1965. So we used to not need these categories. We need them now, because everybody is going to come and say, I'm black, and you can't tell me I'm not black. They're not going to hear nothing we saying about American blacks. They don't care. They get to run over here. They get to say, you are nothing, because I get to be you and me. So I get to be whatever my nationality or my people are and where they came from. I get to be that, and I get to be you at the same time. And being you is powerful, because y'all have a history of oppression. So I get to listen. Everybody else is getting ahead, and they're masking our failure. They are going to the top of the ranks. We saw ADOS in the news all last week. Why? Didn't nobody reach out to me, though, for a comment, but we saw us all in the news. ADOS all over the news. These conversations are happening all over the news, and nobody's reaching out. But everybody knows that it's happening. It's the ADOS effect, and the ADOS effect is in full force. That's just what it is. That's That's just what it is. And we're going to have this conversation because you can't have a reparations or any kind of redress conversation without talking about who the harmed group was. And if you ever want to know who is ADOS and who is not, just ask you whether they were a part of the harmed group. Were they a part, did they have ancestors going back to slavery and beginning in slavery is anchored in slavery. So it's anchored in lineage. And all of that accrued disadvantage that came out of slavery because that was the creation of our racialized caste. Listen. That is what it is. And I don't know, light-skinned folk, biracial, y'all gotta figure it out. Y'all gotta figure it out because you get caught up and you see somebody mixed and you just run at them and you want a bear hug and you want a kiss on the forehead and stuff, and you don't even, without asking yourself, what is the context of this person's life, and does it match the context of not only my individual life but the context of my mother, father, or whoever the ADOS person is in your life. Does that person's life match your life? If it doesn't, there's a different lineage and a different context. And they're free to have that. I don't have any bias towards that, but it's just not the same. So I'm gonna leave it there, fam. I'll set up the phones and we can have some conversation. But my whole aim is, this is not about, oh, Vet, do you like Trump? You love Trump? No, This is about, I need the people to stop telling me that they're blackity black, because you are not us and we're not the same. So the only way now that we know we're not the same is for you to get my vote, is for you to offer an agenda that works and benefits my life and improves my quality of life, material quality of life, resources in my community, right? Specifically for my group, not just blackity black, not just disadvantaged, not minorities, not people of color, because nobody tells anybody else that. You go and have a specific conversation with the Jewish community. You have specific conversations with Latinos. You have very specific conversations with Native Americans. We need those specific conversations. And it doesn't have anything to do with who Kamala is. You know, you're not even ADOS, Kamala, so you can't ride on that. And I would even demand that from an ADOS person. I would say, we need an agenda. I'm happy that you're ADOS. I'm very proud. Now, let's get an agenda. I would do it anyway. But this is insulting. So give me a minute, fam. We'll come back and we'll have a conversation. All right, family, we are back. We are back. We are back. The calls are full. So let's go on and get through. 832, I'm coming to you. What's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Hey, man, this is Mark. I'm calling from Houston, Texas.
What's going on, Mark?
Nothing much. Hey, it's an honor. I've listened to you for a few years now, so it's my first time calling in.
I appreciate you.
Yeah. Of course. I mean, I'm going to be a little controversial tonight.
Okay, go ahead. That's what we're here for.
But I just think, I just think we've got to do something different. I think staying on the sidelines or even down ballot, I think, has its limitations. And for me, just my look at the political landscape, immigration is the top issue for Black Americans because, at least one of them, because it is the greatest threat to what little political clout we have left. You know, like I said, I'm from Houston, and my grandparents grew up in a neighborhood called Acres Homes. Some people may have heard of it. And it was a historically Black neighborhood, and I've watched that neighborhood change in just a decade, or maybe a decade and maybe about 15 years. And the demographics have changed of that city, and therefore the political representation has changed. You know, and so I've noticed the political representation no longer talks about Black issues. Like our Congresswoman, Sheila Jackson Lee, and I know she puts out that
rest in peace. Rest in peace. Rest in peace.
Rest in peace. Rest in peace. Rest in peace. You're right. And I know she puts out that reparations bill all the time that goes nowhere. But I've noticed she's changed. Her earlier years in Congress, she was way more, I think, pushing a Black agenda, at least from what I remember, than in her later days. She had to kind of cater to that immigrant base that had formed here in Houston. And so, for me, I am voting for Trump this cycle only because of that immigration issue. Because if the Democrats are able to grant amnesty to these legal immigrants, you can kiss that political clout and a Black agenda goodbye. The Democrats will never have to go to the hood anymore. As what was that? Joe Biden said he goes to the hood every election cycle or whatever. Whatever stupid stuff he said.
He said he go to the ghetto. He go to the ghetto and walk through the projects.
That was so silly. But the thing is, you won't even get. The thing is, you won't even get that anymore. Like it will be done. Demographics is destiny. That will be a wrap.
Say that again. Demographics is destiny. Say that again for the people.
Demographics is destiny. You can't outpace the demographics. Like you only have so many people. You only have so many votes. And look, I don't like some of the stuff he says. A lot of white people don't like the stuff he says. But one thing I've noticed about Black people, we get emotional. We get emotional attachment to our leaders. White folks, they truly vote on their best interest, and they're like, he's going to protect my interests, so I don't care.
And let me tell you something.
I don't care what he says.
And let me tell you something, fam. Let me tell you something. Them white folks is unmoved. Let me tell you, the media thought that all these felonies and stuff they were going through. Oh, he can't. Ain't no way he can do it now. He can't. Them white folk was like, listen, I do not care. I do not care nothing about what you're talking about. No, because I think there is, and we understand the racism that's there. We get that. But I think there is also something to what you saying. This is that Venn diagram, right? What they understand is the same thing you're saying is that this country will change forever. Like the demographics, they said, I had an article up earlier that it said 90, I think it was, I can't remember whether it was like 90% or 95%. I can't remember what the number was, but it was over 90% of the population growth in America from 20 to like 23, I think it was Hispanic, right? And so I think what they're saying is we want to preserve America. And I think what you're saying is when we look at our ability, like we haven't even gotten the change we wanted, right? Like in terms of when it was just us and what nobody else said, we didn't get it. And so what is the likelihood of you getting it when this is a white, right? Brown, and then down the line ADOS group, right? When you don't even have the numbers anymore. So I get what you're saying, fam.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, it's not like a total solution, but it's protecting the ultimate disaster, I think.
Well, and I'm just engaging in terms of like the politics of it. I don't want to be like, Yvette said it. No, I'm just engaging in the politics of it because I think Latinos never get judged when they vote Republican. Like, now I'm not saying vote for Trump. That's not what I'm telling y'all. But I'm saying that like that vote always seems to be in play. And it's almost like the vote isn't respected unless it's in play. Right? Unless we feel like we have to go chase you, and our vote is never in place. So I do understand your point of view. I totally understand what you're saying.
Yeah,
we in quite a pickle.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. But I appreciate you for letting me call in.
Okay, appreciate you, fam. Thank you. It was a good call. Appreciate you. You have a good night. I'm going to my next caller. Let's see who I am going to. 917. What's your name? Where you calling from? And what's on your mind?
Hi, Yvette.
Hey.
I'm calling about the topic. Hey, how are you?
I'm doing pretty good.
I'm calling about the... Good. Sorry, it seems like there's a delay.
Yep.
I'm calling about the topic this evening because I want to tell you that you and Antonio have given me the greatest lineage and political education for me to be able to like think for myself. I recently was speaking to a girlfriend of mine who is half Trinidadian, half either Central or South American.
Okay.
And as long as I've known her, she's always talked about being mixed. But when she talks about being mixed, it's her ethnicity, the Trinidadian side and the Latina side. And then she says, on the end, she throws in or tacks in the Afro, the Afro roots, right?
Okay.
So I guess that's how she and I are supposed to be in the same, accord or whatever. So I was telling her that Kamala's not black, and she argued me down. She's like, she's black, and she identifies as black. And I explained to her, well, her mother is Indian, and her father is Jamaican. And she's like, well, she identifies as black, and she can go to Atlanta and put on a fake black accent because she identifies as black. And it's just so sad because, I'm fighting for this, but why should I? Because I think black people are so starved for an identity. And I realize that I'm half Caribbean, but my lived experience has always been here. My lineage goes way back in this country, and this is my ethnicity. And that's why I was trying to explain to her that Kamala Harris does not have our same ethnicity. But people don't understand what ethnicity is, because in America, like you said, it's like if you're black and you have the same skin color or phenotype, you get thrown in this big black pot.
Yep.
And it's nothing else. And if we're only identified by our skin color and no phenotype, we don't have anything.
Yeah, and because that's nothing. Because I remember somebody saying, well, we all get stopped. And that's the line Obama used. When somebody stops, when a cab doesn't know me from anybody else. First of all, you don't view yourself or you don't identify or you don't assess yourself by a racist cab driver. But the second thing is a cab driver could see a Mexican with a hat on and think, oh, I'm not picking him up. That doesn't mean you're ADOS just because of the behavior of a racist police officer or a racist cab driver. That's not how we define ourselves. We define ourselves from slavery going forward. And we let Obama get that stuff off. And I think where we are now is that we're never going to allow that to happen again. I put up 2 clips early today, one from 2017 and 2019. I've been saying this stuff for 7 years, right? I wrote Obama's Achilles heel is he's not African American in 2010, right? So I think you're right. Like, people don't understand what it means to have a specific lineage tied to a specific country that's associated with a particular context, and they just view it as, oh, melanin. I can't even say melanin and kinky hair because Kamala don't have kinky hair. So I can't even say that. It's just like, oh, melanin. That's not it. Oh, she sees herself as, or she identifies as, or no. There's a history. You don't identify as. There's a history that you have to, that you have to be tied to that's very specific.
Yeah, and like you said, by what right? Because, again, her mom is Indian, and say if her father was Black American, maybe, but he's Black Jamaican, a whole other country. If he's Black Jamaican, because I've heard he's Indian.
Yeah, we don't know.
Whatever.
We don't know.
Anyway.
We don't know. We don't know anything. We don't know. Like, there's a lot that we don't know, and he won't come forth to tell us. Like, I don't even know why he's not coming forth. He don't say nothing. What I mean, how this is outrageous. The one thing that ties you to quote unquote blackness is a father who don't even speak about you. So I appreciate you, fam. Thank you so much. I'm gonna try to get to at least a couple of these other calls. I got the queue, but I appreciate you.
All right.
All right, now you have a good one. Yeah, it is sad though. It's a sad time. I'm going right now to 504. 504. What's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Yeah, what's happening? This is Roy. I called a couple of times from New Orleans. I will definitely be.
Hey!
I will definitely be there for the conference was had.
Oh, you right down there too.
Yeah, right there. Yeah, I'm actually in your city now. I actually have some work to do. I actually want to speak to you about the conversation. Once again, thank you, and Antonio Moore. I really appreciate the fact that you have helped me to articulate the importance of Black people respecting expertise. I'm in a lot of conversation with adult people who are in the LGBTQ community.
Okay.
And they're not being able to have the data and having the language to explain that to them. I have actually a very influential conscious creator who I've been reaching out to him, and I'd like to send you that information. He would love to have you on the platform to speak. I think he got about 70,000 subscribers or something like that, but I'm regularly on his panel.
Okay.
So I am wanting to thank you. I'll send that, put the email in the chat.
Okay.
But when it comes to lineage, it's just like when we was having that previous conversation about the Hispanics, right? In New Orleans, we didn't do the whole Hispanic Latino thing. That is weird to me because there's so many people who have the similar genophenotype. That does not tell you lineage or nationality. It's goofy. How do we have a history where we fought in the Korean War? Those are all Mongoloid, East Asiatic people. You see, they didn't give a damn about having the same features. You see how nationality and country and territory meant something to them? Did you see how Adolf Hitler did not care that the Ashkenazi Jays share a similar phenotype? It's a really goofy thing. One thing I love about the Olympics is that the Olympics makes it very clear that it is not Crayola. The Olympics makes it very clear to you that this is Algeria. This is not Africa. This is France. This is not Europe. This is Tokyo. This is Japan. So one thing I love about the Olympics is that, yes, do you see how it's not based off of how you phenotypically present, that people are more identifying by the culture of the nation of their birth. One thing, and I always put this out here, and I got to thank you for how I say this. I said, look, it's a very different. If Black Americans were able to go into the Haitian government or the Nigerian government, and then I was able to sit and say, hey, you have policy based off of melanin and kinky hair and diaspora. Now, we all have had white people problems, true enough. But the only difference about ADOS, baby, is the outcome that made it the more palatable country for everyone else. See, we vacation to their countries. They move here. We are definitely not the same. I will be out there at the ADOS conference. I will put that information out there. Thank you.
Thank you, fam. I appreciate you.
The language.
I appreciate you. Yeah, we're not the same. You can't even have that conversation about the differences in countries. But I do agree with you too about you. We don't want to have that conversation. Nobody wants to have that conversation. Like nobody wants to have the conversation about the I salute the winner from St. Lucia, but nobody wants to have the conversation about how she trains in America, right? Like if you really want to have that kind of pride, you got to train over there. If y'all really want to go there, if you want to go there, we can go there.
Yeah, it's goofy, and then the thing is, it's for people who don't understand really politics. He follows the money. I tell people all the time, it's a beautiful thing that seeing people who have not get into politics, but being able to get Adolf introduced into politics from the Adolf gauge. So that gives me some hope
Yeah.
Because if we're able to get the next generation who are just now getting into politics, you get them into politics from an Adolf's perspective, you got something dangerous.
Yeah, you got, and we can pour that into them early. They don't have to get all of this other stuff. We can pour that into them early. So I appreciate you, fam. I appreciate you, and I see you in New Orleans.
And what I'm gonna do is put up Conscious TV is his name. I'm gonna put he's definitely
okay. And send me a DM too.
Send her my information. He would love to have you, and I would love. So I can tell people this is the difference between. Now this is who I learned my expertise from. This is who I listen to, like Antonio Moore instead of Charlemagne the God.
Yeah, send me a D.
I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna shut up. I said it's interesting. I was on a conversation with a trans person, a trans woman. You know what she said? She said, "Yeah, they always pick the most goofiest, ditzy ass trans woman to speak. I don't want you just landed." I said, "Now y'all see how this black trans immigrant, or she's a Jamaican trans woman, was able to see she didn't want the person who just got off the short bus. You see how nobody gave her back? But when I say I don't want Charlemagne the God, a person who went to night school, who only have 2 classes in government, to speak and engage my politics. I appreciate you.
Yeah, nobody. No, I appreciate you. You have a good one, and leave that in DM me with it too, because I don't want to go through the chat unless somebody wants to send it to me. But yeah, so yeah, nobody wants a dodo bird speaking for them. Charlemagne spent all his life speaking to rappers, and now he's trying to making Lil Mama and them cry, and now he's trying to make a transition to politics. Baby, that ain't how you make a transition to politics. You have to have a life in politics. You don't just make a transition because I don't want to do that no more. Well, I don't care. you did it long enough. Retire, Negro. Let me see who I'm going to next. 424. What's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Oh, hey, Yvette. What's going on? Jason from LA. Long time no talk.
Hey, what's going on? How you been?
Oh, great. Just dealing with family stuff, so haven't been able to catch the show or call in for a long time. But just wanted to call in because you did close out on something that I always say, and that's about certain folks on Twitter, and that's that line where you said they can be them, they can be us, but we can't be ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Or anything. And it's just like, I think with
that's
Adolf,
divisive.
I think at some point in time we just drew a line in the sand, and a lot of people found themselves on the other side of it and just got offended. And I think that's what all the pushback is for.
Yeah, we're supposed to be nothing. I don't think people understand. We're supposed to be nothing. Like everybody else you get to be Jamaican American. Y'all get to celebrate Caribbean. You get to celebrate Nigeria, Niger. You get to celebrate Ghana. You get to celebrate South Africa. You get to celebrate but we are supposed to just be like black and not say that, hey, yeah.
Be like, oh, you're African, which is just, and don't have a culture. And, there's that guy on, Twitter, YouTube, TikTok that just goes and asks like random Africans and stuff in Britain, and they're just like, yeah, you guys don't have a culture, you don't know where you come from, da-da-da. And we say, well, I'm from 400 years in America. Oh, well, that doesn't matter. And it's just like, okay, but, I got my name, Lineage in America before your country was named, and somehow I don't even have.
But hold on, fam. Hold on. Not only that, that's not even your country. Let's tell the truth. Like, you immigrated to the UK from Africa. Like, so you or your mom and them, that's not even your country that you're claiming. You are in a white country, right? We are in a white country, a majority white country still. You just got to your white country and you claiming it, right? We have been in this country, built the country, been here much longer than you, and we didn't run here. You ran away from the people you say you love. See, I don't like people who claim you want to say, I'm Ugandan or I'm Ghanaian. No, your family got the heck out of Dodge. So I don't even think them people don't even like you. Right. Like when you go talk to a lot of people who are still in that country and you talk to them about the people who left, they don't like them, a lot of them. And so either they don't like them or they want to get out too. One of the two. And so it's like, you don't even get to claim that no more. Like, you ran away from there. You wanted to be, we got here because of what happened to us. You got there because you were dying to be beside white folk. That's your insecurity, not ours.
Right. And then, and it's weird. You get on Twitter and folks just start popping off the mouth like, once again, don't know who Adolf is and act like we just got here and we're irrelevant. We got, news articles and, every one of those black pundits on TV knows who we are. Just like the clips that we were sharing, you know, the last couple days where it's like the Hispanic lady and the Indian guy, I guess, and you know, all of the guys know who ADOS is. Even the Republicans, they want to, you know, Trump want to say it halfway, and they don't want to actually engage in the actual nuance of the conversation.
No, but they all know. Let me tell y'all. They all know. You're right. They all know. I DM'd a very high-profile Republican because I heard them say something that let me know they've been speaking to ADOS, and that mug was like, "Oh, hey, Yvette, I've been seeing you since 2019."
Right, exactly.
Like,
I tell people, just email all those people, just so it's in the discourse when they show up on TV. And they just say the right thing. They don't have to mention us, but just DM, you know, send a producer or somebody. You know, I tell people, like, you know, you want Yvette on TV and newscasters and stuff when they're saying things.
Yeah, you got to fight for it.
Email the
you got to fight for it.
MSNBC.
Well, and especially, let me say this, fam. Let me say this, fam. Especially that NPR article that came out too.
Yeah.
Like that NPR article that came out that mentioned. Did y'all see that? It was Dr. Khalil Gibran, whatever his name is. He's at Harvard Kennedy School, and he was talking about us as if he is a fair arbiter when it was Harvard Kennedy School that smeared us. That's what he did. And he's being interviewed. And I went through my email like maybe I missed it. And nobody reached out to me. So absolutely that NPR article, just Google NPR ADOS. You can go to ChatGPT. Hey, you all didn't include ADOS Foundation, Yvette Carnell in your article. That needs to be corrected. You know, that sort of thing. You're right. It helps. And we're not even, we know you're busy. You can use ChatGPT now to say, hey, write a quick 200 word that says Yvette Carnell was left out of it. You can, it's not hard anymore. So there's absolutely no reason like we have to push for that inclusion.
So yeah, I just wanted to close out on that to help everybody. Like if you take tonight and just be respectful, type ADOS, this is who you are.
Yeah, please don't call names.
Like the websites and find the producer of the show. That's how we got, what was it, Joy Reid back in the day when she was popping out at the mouth and stuff. I was like, hey, everybody just email her producer. And that's when she got mad and went on her personal account and started talking. And we had to do it again to make her be quiet.
But we didn't hear no more about her. But we didn't hear no more. But we didn't hear no more from her from MSNBC though.
Right.
That was her.
Exactly. So that's what I'm saying. If you email the producers or something that just do the show and be like, hey, I'm from this, you should have this person on, and enough people do it, they'll reach out. And, you know, they know who we are and got the email and know who everybody is.
Yeah, and just
enough people have to actually want it.
Exactly.
For them to take that initiative, and then we just all have to watch it and spread it around.
Exactly. I agree, fam.
Right.
And I want to thank you for that. And I think
get to the next person.
All right, fam. Appreciate you. And I agree with him. Like you can go to ChatGPT and just tell it how many words you want and what you want to say. Like it's not even. I still like typing, but it's not even to the point where you still have to write anymore if you don't want to write. Hey, you left this person out of the conversation. This is where you can reach Yvette. Or, you know, this is where you can. And she would, hey, you don't understand what ADOS is, and this is what we are. Here's a link to the website. You got this wrong. Hey, all that, like, it's easy to do that now. And that's the thing that sets us apart from everybody else. Like, we're serious, we're political. That's the thing that sets us apart. And we have to be able to draw that distinction. That's important. I'm going to my next call. I am going now to 517. 517, what's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Hi, my name is Chris. I'm calling from northern United States. And I have a question for you. You kind of brought it up at the beginning of your...
Can you speak up just a little bit for me? Can you speak up just a little bit for me?
I'm sorry. Let me try this again. Okay.
Okay.
I'm Chris, calling from northern United States. My question for you kind of brought it up at the beginning of this. We touched it briefly. Given the fact that many were from the Caribbean and many from South America are rightly, yet shadily, claiming to be American and then able, and they are American.
I'm still having problem hearing you. Can you speak up just a little bit? Can y'all hear her?
Okay. I'm so sorry.
Are you on speakerphone?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. I can hear you better now.
Can you hear me?
Oh yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, I'm so sorry. Does the term ADOS need to be updated because South Americans and Caribbeans are officially, yet shadily, also called Americans? So, for those who want to perhaps be included in the ADOS group, they can shadily maybe call themselves Americans, therefore making them, and their history is also based on slavery. They're essentially ADOS, but not really, because America is not just the United States. Do you think the term needs to be updated or changed?
No.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. No, because when you look up what it means, because there's a definition that's associated with that as well. So it's an acronym, American Descendants of Slavery, but when you look up the definition, it says descendants of chattel slavery in these United States of America. So that definition is pretty specific.
Oh, okay. Thank you very much for that piece of information.
Thank you. No problem.
Sorry for the connection.
No problem. Let me see. Where am I going to next? 214-214. What's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Hello, Yvette. This is Michael from Dallas, Texas.
Hey, Michael. What's going on?
Not too much. One of the things that I wanted to talk about is just how blatantly the Democratic Party is about just kind of like it's almost kind of like they ignore the real conversation as it pertains to African Americans or the ADOS community, because at this point it's kind of almost impossible to believe that they don't hear the backlash that comes about when, Kamala does a rally with Megan Thee Stallion and everybody's like, oh, the world of policies, you claim that you're black and you go to Atlanta and then you bring out entertainers and stuff, but where the, the specific policies for black people, you know what I'm saying? And it's kind of like they don't even think that they have to address it almost. It's kind of like, you know what I'm saying? It's like they're daring us to even double down and be like, oh, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, we're still here in the room. Like, what do you think about that?
Well, I mean, are they wrong? I see a bunch of people online saying that I'm down with Kamala no matter what, and they don't even know what she stands for. They don't even know. Like, listen, you run on two things. When you run for office, you run on two things. You run on your history, the stuff that you have done for people, and you run on your vision. Kamala's trying to just run on what she did in some of the stuff, not all of it, because some of it's bad, in California and with Biden. I haven't heard like specifics about what her vision is for the future, right? So, and I haven't heard enough of us say, listen, this is not good enough for what we need. So the question becomes, are we going to be, as a group, are we going to say, hey, we got to get more than this, we got to get better than this, or are we going to just say, oh my God, Trump is so scary, he's so scary, I'm so scared? Like, which one?
And I think that's another important aspect of this weird dichotomy that we're in. It's kind of like the Republicans know that we're disenfranchised with the Democrats, so they're kind of like playing the fifth suit. And I feel like we can't even blatantly call out the Democrats and be like, hey, you know what? We really deserve reparations, and if y'all don't play the black card, how can y'all avoid this conversation? Like, it's almost completely disrespectful for y'all to play the black card in this scenario and then not directly address the most obvious, pink elephant in the room. And then with the Republicans, like, I noticed that one charismatic black lady that Trump had out or whatever, she was calling out Kamala on a lot of the different stuff, and then she said Trump has a platinum plan. And I'm like, the platinum plan? Like, you know what I'm saying? Is this something new, or is this something that you tried to do in your last term?
That's last time.
Does it come with a platinum card without reparations money on it? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, they dodging the question on both sides. It's like, we really got to figure out a way in this cycle to, like, really turn somebody's wrist and be like, hey, address this. Y'all can't just keep ignoring and not addressing
But here's the problem though. There's only one wrist to turn. right? The only risk you can turn is the Democrats because that's the only party that needs you. The Republican Party is used to getting elected without you. So they can say anything about you. They can say you dirty, dirty, dirty dog. And like there's nothing we can do about it because they get elected without us. The only arm you can turn is that other arm, is that Democrat Party arm, because you can make them lose. Now, I'm not talking about this election. I'm talking about just in general. Take it outside of this election, because I've been talking about this for a while, is that sometimes you have to have short-term pain for long-term gain. And we have never, when I think about it, like I go back to what everybody said about Mitt Romney, right? When Obama was running against Romney, oh my God, we just can't let Romney get in there. Wait a minute. Romney is like, I'm not a fan of Romney, but he's a regular capitalist, Republican. I don't like him, but you can't tell me he's the boogeyman. He is a Republican. He's going to do what Republicans do, and that's not going to be helpful to us. But like, stop talking to me like a monster just walked through. This is the monster I know. Like, so it's always that kind of juxtaposition, right? So that you're never able to say, maybe I do something different this time, because the only group that you have to hold accountable is the group that wins or loses based on whether or not you turn out for them. That's the only group you have. And you don't have enough people who do the other thing. Like, you don't have enough people who vote Republican ever to be able to say, hey, we over here and you need us now. How about that? Like, that's kind of the Latino way, and a lot of them are conservative just in general. We're not that because we're owed more and we deserve more. So that's why a lot more of us are not conservative. But that creates a bit of a conundrum in terms of our political strategy.
I agree with you. Agree with what you're saying to some degree, but I also think that the Republicans use black people, and that they do kind of put us on the board. Like, we're a chess piece on their board too. We might not be as valuable of a chess piece on the Republican side, but like the fact that they have to play the black card here and there, it does give us a little bit of leverage. And I feel like, you know what I'm saying, with this particular political cycle, we almost kind of, from the social media influencer standpoint, the individual person that's kind of like talking about the election between them and their family and stuff, and maybe posting about it on TikTok, like, we can kind of influence the conversation on a micro level. And I really like what the other caller was saying about doing little things like emailing the producers of different shows and, like, chiming in on Twitter and tagging, what I'm saying, certain political people and shit like that. Like, people actually see that, and it actually does kind of, turn the needle a little bit.
It does.
And I don't know if we really have any, any more crucial leverage than that. And so,
we have people power. We have people power, but here's what I'm gonna leave you on this, and I'm gonna tell everybody else too. Here's what I would like everybody to do. I already know. Go back over the last 30 years. Just do yourself a favor and start in 1980, right? I want you all to go look up the presidents, and I want you to look up the people who got the highest percentage. Look up the presidential, not the we talking about the general, not the primary. Go look up the general election of the last, since 1980 to now. And I want you to look up the percentages that Republicans got from of the black vote. Right? And look at the percentage that Democrats got of the black vote. Right, and you see, it's very lopsided, and that's why I would say Republicans just want to peel off enough to cause some problems, right? I want you to just go look at that, and it's interesting too to talk about, because you be like, dang, that's like, it's like this. Yeah, it's like this. 213, what's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Hi, good evening, Yvette. How are you?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
We're doing much better. Me and my wife was going through withdrawals when you was gone. We had the shakes and we were sick. We were sick, Yvette.
Oh, it's messed up.
I want to thank you for what you have done in my life. I am a 62-year-old ADOS. My lineage goes all the way back to the slave owner, Thomas Jefferson. My last name is Jefferson. That says a whole lot for the listeners out there who can't figure it out. And I endured something today, and if it had not been for you and me understanding that what is going on with us today, I'm an Army veteran.
Okay.
And I was at the hospital today, and I was attacked. Now, mind you, Yvette, I have a college degree in how to treat people in customer service. And this young Filipino man came out of some room. I don't know. I had to find out where he was at. And this man attacked me, disrespected me, but Yvette, just by knowing who I am and what I stand for and where I come from, the cross burnings and the lynchings in my front yard, setting our people on fire in front of us. And
you still there, Carl? You still there, Carl? What? I hate to. I don't want to drop him because I know he was, going through something. So I don't want to drop him. You still there, Carl?
yes, I'm
Okay.
still.
Okay.
Yes, I'm still here.
Okay.
I straightened up because I know that's inappropriate. I don't want them to think I'm crazy.
It's not sadness is not inappropriate. We don't do that here. we don't shame people based on their trauma and their reactions.
Okay.
Go on, fam.
So my point is this, and what you are presenting to us, and if we don't, I experienced an example of people that are not from our lineages and are not ADOS are trying to push us, and you said this, and I'm going to be quiet, you said this, we belong here. They are not from here. They're trying to push us out of here. And Yvette, thank you so much. And me and my wife love you so much.
I love you back.
Glad you're back, okay?
I love you back. I love you back. But you better go finish that cry though. Because it ain't good to hold that stuff in. You better go finish that cry.
I know.
Our men have heart attacks and stuff and stroke stuff because they won't finish that cry. Go finish that cry.
No, because I got you. See, when I feel like I'm fit to fall short, we tap into you. I don't care
appreciate
if it's a month ago. We tap into you.
I appreciate you. I thank you. I finished my cries. I thank you. I appreciate you. And I'm sorry that happened to you. We all are. But I think it's helpful to understand the context of America and to understand that it's not personal. America has designed it that way, right? That you are the person to be attacked, that this is the group to be attacked and otherized. So we love you, fam. And tell your wife I said what's up.
Thank you.
All right?
All right, she right here.
Hey! Hey, wifey. Y'all have a good night, all right? Take care of each other.
You too.
That's the blessing in it. Y'all take care of each other. You have a good one. Yeah, and that's the blessing in it. They together. They right there together on the phone. I feel like sometimes we don't even understand what community is. That is community. You be able to call here and tell people this happened to me. This is Adolph's life, and I'm struck. I understood it, but it still messed me up. I'm pissed off and I'm hurt. But that's what it is. That's part of what it means to be a community. That we can share that with each other. Right? What good is it to be a community if we can't share the pains and stuff that we have and the stuff that we go through? That's not a community if you can't do that. So love y'all back and love that y'all watching this together. Like I said, a couple that watches Breaking Brown together stays together. Anyway, going to my next call right now. I am going to I am going to 252. What's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Hey, it's William Dickens.
Hey, William, what's up?
How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. Will, what's up with you?
Not much. Man, the brothers that just called, man. Them calls right there is the calls that I always say that lights the fire for me. I think the biggest problem with our group, we very childlike. We don't want to have a real grown person conversation because when you try to have it with us, a lot of times most people get emotional, they get in their feelings. Even when you're giving them facts, even when their reality isn't embedded in the facts. we still get upset. You know, instead of saying, "Man, you make a lot of sense. You're right." I've sat in so many different meetings, Yvette. One of the number one questions I ask in every meeting I'm in with black folks, I say, "What is it to be black? What is black?" And every single time, Yvette, they can't explain it. Imagine being here, like you said, for over 400 years, dealing with all we have dealt with, and still don't know what it is to be black. Yet we are saying we're going to fight for black folks.
I wouldn't even know what it means. We wouldn't even know who. Who we talking about? We wouldn't even know who we talking about. We said we're going to fight black. Who we talking about? Well, everybody. I don't know. Everybody, I guess.
Yvette, what we are looking at is identity crisis. And we want to win. We don't want to put in the work to have a real win. So we attach ourselves to fake wins. One of my number one sayings is, a soldier's first battlefield is their own mind. Your own mind, because you are going to be your first enemy.
Yeah, because let me say something. Let me say something, William. Let me say something. You exactly right. And let me touch on something that you just said. Your biggest battle is against yourself, because the weakest part of yourself is always trying to win. It's the weakest part of yourself is always like the path of least resistance. We ain't got to do that workout today. We just, we deserve a break. And it's always a constant struggle. So I think about that. But go ahead, Will. I'm sorry.
No, Yvette, you connecting dots. What you just said, you went into what I was connecting dots to. When we say this down balanced Democrat that we pushing for, the weaker part of you is going to take over. Why? Because it goes back to that workout. He said, "Man, I don't know if I can do it. Man, look at all these people coming in the country. Man, they taking over. Oh, my God. What we going to do? I'm scared to death." That's the weaker part of you. See, for being that soldier, you got to dig down in yourself and know every battle you done been in. Even when you won an event, you walked away with scars. You walked away with scars. But that victory still felt good. Didn't it, Yvette?
It did. I was trying. Hey, William, I was trying to do a pull-up this morning. I almost died. So I understand. Listen. I get the one day, but I'm just saying, like, you can't give up on it. Like,
you can't get, Yvette, the day that you do that pull-up, you're gonna win that victory. See? As long as you don't let the weaker part of you stop you from trying it.
And it's going to convince you don't need to do no pull-up. What you got to do a pull-up for? You don't even got to do that. You all right. You ain't got to do that. What you need upper body strength for?
See? That's what it means in this political space. The key to our success is moving as one unit. Moving as one unit with no weak ligaments in that unit, in that chain. If it's a weak link in that chain, the chain will break. When you out here and you advocate with this 8-ounce movement, you got to beat these drums as one solid link. If you show a sign of weakness, the link will break.
Absolutely.
Cornell and Antonio Moore ain't brought us this far. As the gentleman said, you are pulling him and his wife through. And make no mistake, you are pulling William Dickens through too.
I appreciate you, fam.
We got to know that you are here with us. This is our last stand. This 8-ounce movement is our last stand. It's time to be bold. It's time to be brave. And it's time to accept that I am going to make a sacrifice to turn this thing around. And I'm not going to let fear dictate what I do. Period.
I appreciate.
Look in that mirror and beat the weaker part of you up.
Well, you just gotta face it every day. The weaker part of you is always. You just gotta face it every day. You just gotta face it every day. That's all you gotta do. You gotta face it every day. It ain't gonna go away because that's the way the brain works. The brain wants to avoid pain, so it's always gonna be like like just go have that donut. Yeah, that's all I want to do. So,
man.
So I appreciate you, William. Try to get to like one more.
Yeah,
I appreciate you, but you have a good night. I appreciate you. And you know, y'all know we did do down ballot last time. Just officially, we haven't. The ADOS Advocacy Foundation has not promoted a voting strategy this time. But I think what William is referring to in terms of what we did last time and why we did it. Every time a call go out, another one fall in. So the queue is full of calls tonight, so I'm obviously not going to get to everybody. So I'm gonna try to let's see if I can get to a couple more. 973. What's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
All right, Yvette.
Hey.
Alicia.
Hey, what's going on?
I'm just thinking about the name Black
Mm-hmm.
and people forgetting or acting as if they don't know that it's a classification. And that it's a classification out of hatred and exclusion. And that they themselves act like they don't know what a people are. They act as if they forgot who they have people that they left.
Mm-hmm.
And they know that means family and kinship at its core. And they know that when they say that I am just as Black as you, that they are asking themselves into your identity and forgetting about your family, your kinship, your history. They have to know this. There's no way you can't know it.
Well,
unless you don't, and they don't, have a relationship with us. They have a relationship with the side that classifies us.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
And they have a relationship with the Blackness that is commodified. Commodified characters. That's who they have relationships with. And they don't mind being that character. And it especially in the sense that they come from, which is why Kamala is significant, because her identity is a globalized diaspora of dominant minority. Her identity is in Africa and the Caribbean, not as an equal, but as a superior minority. And for people to leave home and act as if they forgot that, it's shameful.
Talk that Brahmin talk. People forget what caste Kamala's from in India.
She's a Brahmin.
Yeah.
And Brahmins are Aryan in their history. There's no questioning what that is. That's white. That is the mother of white, of American white. So when I hear, I forget the woman's name who said to Vivek Ramaswamy, because you're brown skin, she knows what an Aryan is. These are games that are being played. And with every game, there's a strike. And we're not even aware of it. I just realized I missed out a whole 3 years ago of Kamala inviting everybody, Black, brown, Native American, into the Freedmen's Bank. And just had a news conference with everybody but us.
Well, let me just say this too. People don't understand how vicious and racialized the caste is in India, right? And there are even stories, and I put them up on Twitter before, of how that vicious caste, people have committed suicide in America because they work at companies with Brahmin who know that back home, you are one of the untouchables, right? Or you are a lower caste, so they treat them like trash in America. So I don't even think people understand the context of that caste that you're talking about.
Well, in 2003 and 2004, I went to India. 2 years.
Okay.
And I've worked, well, what used to be a farming or maybe at best telephone, call center turned into a whole growing economy back almost to where they were before British stole their wealth, right? And because they were plugged into technology, they have everything they need to develop. They've got the resources and the knowledge. But when I was there then, I remember I took some pens and pencils. I took them because I went there in South Africa, and I took pens and pencils and books for children. And I remember my colleagues kind of looked at me like, don't do it. And I did it. And this little boy and his friends ran up to me, and they said, you face, you hair, you funny. You funny.
My goodness.
And I put my hand out. And this little boy pointing at me, the back of his hand was just as black as my hand. And he looked at me. Well, I let his friends go, but he looked at me like I didn't say anything. He expected me to say something. But that's not what it means to them. That little boy got shot. But the adults believe their darkness comes from the sun. They still have, what do you call it, sort of, I don't know, allegorical or whatever beliefs about how they came about.
Yeah, the aesthetic, yeah.
But
their appearance, whatever.
Yeah, but for sure, the Dalits know who they are. And the Brahmins make sure they know who they are. They are Aryan. And they brought that here because I work with them now. Now they are the corporations don't hire a certain level of technology anymore. They are embedded as teams. They work with each other, they support each other, and you don't talk to them. Leadership doesn't talk to them. Their leadership talks to leadership. And when they hire, when I would work with them, I would be the only American in their team sometimes. Now I'm realizing the last project I had, it was me, a white male, and a white female. I said, we are all tokens now.
Absolutely.
And, yeah, they see me as a Dalit. And the crazy thing is,
well, let me just say this, and you know why? Like
in their own policy.
But pause 1 second for me. Pause 1 second for me. But part of the reason why they see you as Dalit, and I don't think people understand how we're viewed. People look at us and say you come from a slave. Like we have people who don't want to say y'all. Like I don't want to say American descendants of slavery because that's how we're viewed. Like, and if you want to know why you get treated that way, it's because America never gave you the wealth to come up out of that, and people still view you that way. And it's not just them. It's not just the Indians. The people who come from other countries. If you come from a country that sold us over here and you walk over here, you look and say, gosh, they come from slaves and they're over here doing that. Like that is in the minds of a lot of people, especially people who come from vicious caste systems, because they understand how they treat the untouchables over there. And I'll let you finish up, fam.
Well, and I will say that is the other thing. They act like they forget. They act like they forget that there's no middle class where they come from. You are the upper class or you are not. And they know their ancestors who sold slaves, and they know their access to wealth and how they had servants They know that.
Mm-hmm.
And they know, and America loves, white America loves, especially white liberal women love to have that type of peer where they can forget together and not have guilt.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And so and you can't have that, and you can't have that with us. You can't get together with ADOS and not have guilt. Well, white America knows that Brahmin are the same as them. They're the white people of India. Like I think people, if you all didn't read our book club book, The Other 1%, Indians in America, please go read it. Right. And it is what it is. But I thank you for calling in, fam. This was a great call. I appreciate it. I'm gonna try to get out of here, but I appreciate you. That was a great call. Thank you. You have a good one. Woo. That was a great call, fam. That was a great call. Sometimes you got to have people who speak from experience. I got to get out of here. So everybody's in the calls. Everybody's in the queue. It's a busy day, but I'm gonna have to get out of here. And I appreciate y'all. I apologize, but we almost at the witching hour. we almost at midnight. So I'm gonna have to I'm gonna end it on that call because I think that was a great call for us to kind of end on. And I apologize to everybody who's in the queue. The queue was full. Queue was full tonight. It's still like 10 people in there. So I apologize to y'all, but we can't get through it tonight. We can't get through it tonight. If you want to join Patreon, patreon.com/ycarnell as well. We get to try to get through more questions there if we can. It's a smaller group, but we can't get through that today. But yeah, I mean, that is what it is. She told the truth. They know what they is. Like, we don't know. We come and be like, no, you're brown. They be like, yeah, I'm brown. White people know, like, nah, these people is me. Why do you think so many Indian Americans end up in CEO positions in tech? Like, how do you think that happens, right? How do you think? Yeah, how do you think? Like, please, I implore you all to please go and read. If you have not read, please go and read The Other 1% Indians in America. It was a book club book. If you missed it, please go read it. And I will let you all get off to bed. Thank you for spending this time. Finish whatever libation you had. And I will see Patreon. I'll see you all tomorrow. Otherwise, I'll see you next week, family. And don't forget, the ADOS Summit is October 3rd through the 5th. Please get your tickets and come out there. We're gonna do politics and we're gonna have a good time. So if you only get one vacation this year, let that be it. And we'll see you. We're gonna do both of them. So I'll see y'all there. All right. Bye, fam.